Most people think Bumpy Johnson became dangerous as an adult. They're wrong. The man who would become Harlem's most feared figure committed his first act of violence at just 10 years old. What happened that day in South Carolina changed everything. Charleston, South Carolina, 1915. Young Ellsworth Johnson wasn't called Bumpy yet. He was just another black kid in the Jim Crow South, watching white men do whatever they wanted to his neighbors. His father worked on the docks. His mother cleaned white people's houses. Every day, Ellsworth saw the rules. Don't look white people in the eye. Cross the street when they walk by. Say yes, sir, no, sir, even to children. One wrong move meant a beating. Or worse. But Ellsworth had something different inside him. Something his parents worried about. His older sister, Margaret, noticed it first. Ellsworth didn't look down when white people passed. He stared right at them. She'd pull his arm, whisper warnings, but he wouldn't listen. Their mother prayed every night that her son's pride wouldn't get him killed. October 7th, 1815. Ellsworth walked to the general store on King Street to buy flour for his mother. The white owner, a man named William Hewett, ran the place. Everyone in the black community knew Hewett. He shortchanged black customers, touched black women inappropriately, and nobody could do anything about it. Ellsworth handed over the coins his mother gave him. Hewett counted them slowly, then said the flour cost more. Ellsworth knew the price. He'd been there before. He told Hewett the amount was correct. That's when Hewett's face changed. Hewett came around the counter fast. He grabbed Ellsworth by the shirt and called him a name I won't repeat. Then he said something that made Ellsworth's blood turn cold. Hewett said he knew where Ellsworth's sister walked home from school. He described exactly what he wanted to do to her. 10 years old, standing in that store, listening to a grown man threaten his sister. Ellsworth felt something break inside him. Not fear, not sadness, something else entirely. He stopped shaking. His mind went completely quiet. Behind the counter, Hewett kept a wood axe for breaking down crates. Ellsworth saw it every time he came to the store. While Hewett was still talking, still describing what he planned to do, Ellsworth moved. He was small, but he was fast. Hewett didn't expect it. Nobody expects a 10-year-old to fight back. Ellsworth grabbed that axe with both hands. Hewett turned just as Ellsworth swung. The first hit caught Hewett on the side. He went down hard, knocking over a barrel of pickles. Hewett tried to get up, yelling for help. But the store was empty. It was just the two of them. Ellsworth didn't think, didn't plan. He swung that axe again, and again, until Hewett stopped moving, until the yelling stopped, until everything was quiet except for Ellsworth's breathing. Ellsworth dropped the axe. He looked at his hands, looked at Hewett. Then he walked out of that store like nothing had happened. He didn't run, didn't panic. He walked home at the same speed he always did. When his mother asked where the flour was, he said the store was closed. 2 hours later, someone found Hewett's body. The Charleston police knew immediately it wasn't a robbery. The money was still in the register. This was something else, something that terrified them more than theft. A black person had struck back. Word spread fast. White men gathered. They wanted blood. They didn't know who did it yet, but they were ready to hurt any black person they could find. Ellsworth's father heard the news at the docks. He knew. He didn't know how, but he knew it was his son. That night, Ellsworth's parents made a choice. They packed what they could carry, woke up the children, told them they were leaving Charleston forever. Ellsworth's mother asked him one question. Did you do it? He looked her straight in the eye and said yes. She didn't ask why. She already knew about Hewett's reputation, about what he'd done to other black girls in town. She just held her son close and whispered that the world was going to be harder for him now, that he'd crossed a line most people never cross. They took the midnight train north. New York City, Harlem, a place where black people could breathe a little easier, where the rules were different, where maybe a boy like Ellsworth could survive. But Ellsworth wasn't the same boy who left Charleston. Harlem in 1915 was crowded, loud, and dangerous. Gangs controlled every corner. White mobsters owned the businesses. Black families struggled to survive. Most kids of Ellsworth's age were scared. But Ellsworth had already done the thing most people can't imagine doing. Within a year, Ellsworth got into a fight with an older boy who tried to steal from his sister. During the fight, he got hit so hard that he developed a large bump on the back of his head. It never went away. That's when people started calling him Bumpy. The name stuck. But something else stuck too. The other kids noticed that Bumpy didn't back down, ever. Didn't matter how big you were, didn't matter how many friends you had. Cross Bumpy or his family, and something bad happened to you. Word got around. By age 15, Bumpy caught the attention of Stephanie Street Claire, the numbers queen of Harlem. She needed soldiers who weren't afraid. Who could handle the violence that came with running an illegal lottery? She asked Bumpy one question. Have you ever hurt somebody? He said yes. She didn't ask for details. She saw it in his eyes. That's calm. That complete lack of fear. Most men who work in the streets have to build up to violence. They have to convince themselves. Bumpy never had to convince himself of anything. He'd already crossed that line at 10 years old. Working for Stephanie, Bumpy's reputation grew. When Dutch Schultz's men came to take over Harlem's numbers racket, they expected the usual threats to work. But Bumpy didn't threaten. He acted. 3 of Schultz's collectors disappeared in 1 week. Everyone knew who did it. Dutch Schultz himself met with Bumpy, tried to intimidate him. Bumpy just stared at him with those same eyes that stared at William Hewett back in Charleston. Schultz later told his men that Bumpy was different, that he had the eyes of someone who killed before most people learned to read. The incident in Charleston stayed with Bumpy his whole life. He never talked about it publicly, never bragged. But everyone who knew him well knew there was a moment that changed him. A moment when a 10-year-old boy decided that some things were worth any consequence. Years later, when Bumpy was in his 60s, a reporter asked him if he had regrets. He said he regretted a lot of things. A lot of violence. A lot of pain he caused. But when asked about the very first time, he went quiet. Then he said some men deserve what they get. William Hewett's death was never officially solved. Charleston police records listed as an unsolved homicide from 1915. No arrests were ever made. The investigation went cold within weeks. But in Harlem, decades later, those who knew Bumpy's real story understood something important. The most dangerous people aren't the ones who learn violence as adults. They're the ones who learn it as children. The ones who cross that line so young that they don't remember what it felt like to be on the other side. That was Bumpy Johnson, and it all started in a general store in Charleston when he was just 10 years old.